Okay, so we should be live. What's going on, everybody? So welcome back. It's been a little bit since I've been live streaming here. I've been moving around the country here, so I just got excited. Just finished up my new setup here. Still not fully complete, but yeah, I just wanted to test out the new internet, see if we're doing good, if we're lagging or anything like that, and do a couple of updates here. At the same time, I want to make this an open Q&A about the Mumble project. So for any of you guys that are familiar with that, the open source. Oh shoot! I just realized I didn't have my mic. Okay, so now we should be good. If you guys can all hear me, just let me know. Try to say something in the comment section. Just give me a thumbs up or anything like that. Let me check YouTube here. Okay, 1 second. Okay, so it looks like the audio is doing good. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. So basically, this is my first solo stream. It's kind of funny. I'm way more nervous than I usually am. I've gotten pretty comfortable in live streams, but now that it's all on me, I have no one to go back and forth with. It feels kind of funny. So yeah, I just wanted to go through the audience. I see a lot of the people that are part of the project here. So I will summarize why we started this and what's going on. And I also will have an update video soon. So let's see, we have saw a few people in here. I see Mehdi, Praveen. These are a couple of the developers here that are working on this project with me. So good to see you guys here. Thanks for joining. And just to summarize the project here, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, long story short, I've been teaching a lot on YouTube here and a lot of people are learning, but I really wanted to go the full cycle of learning to actually developing something. So basically giving everybody a chance to really build something out. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is create an opportunity for my students or anybody maybe that's not my student, but is just like a Django developer or a React developer, to get a chance to actually dive into something and develop something for real. And at the same time, maybe even have a chance to earn some money at some point. So I talked about that. We had a few meetings in our Discord server. So I'll kind of go over what those opportunities are. So yeah, the idea was to just build something with a team. And we kind of came to the conclusion of this social media application. So let me actually try to give everyone a quick look at what the application looks like, because we're still in our pre-beta version. We haven't released it yet, but we are looking to do that pretty much this week. So the Mumble team is working very hard on this. So let's go ahead and actually try to take a look at that. Let me try to switch my camera here and share my screen. So give me a second. Okay, so this is the Mumble project. It is a live project right now. We are still having a lot of issues with it. We're working out a lot of kinks here, but this is going to be, I guess, the code for all of this is available. This is built in Django and React, and this is what the team has come up with. So let me try to zoom in here so we can see that better. Maybe I can make that full screen. And this is basically the project right here. So it's an open source social media platform. Some of you guys have seen this. I can follow, I can unfollow certain users here. We can make posts, which we call mumbles, and we can also repost or share, and that is what we call a remumble. So if I want to share a post here, let's say I want to share this Mumble user, I can upvote that post. I can go ahead and share that, and now I can see that I shared it at some point, if that's working. Maybe the functionality is not working at this point. So yeah, that's basically the application. We can write posts here. We can update our own profile. If we go through this, we can see a user profile. We can see follower counts, who's following this user, what our upvote and downvote ratio is. We can write posts here, start discussions. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire application. So this is what about 20 developers combined built out. I just opened up this application, made it public, and let the team start working on it. And that was kind of fun because I really had a lot of fears about this. Putting something out in the public like this, putting out my code, made me really nervous to do something open source. I had a lot of fears. There were a lot of insecurities in doing this, and people seeing my code and sharing all that, and maybe, I guess, feeling exposed with my skills here. But once I started the project, it really just kind of took off. I mean, there was a lot of developers that joined that were a lot better than me, and I ended up learning a lot, and seeing how supportive the community was absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm learning every single day from every PR that I'm getting for this project. I'll just go ahead and open up the GitHub repo. We have the front end and back end code here, so if anybody wants to, this is all in the link description or in the video description. People are submitting PRs, the conversations going on here in the Discord server, in GitHub, and it's just been absolutely amazing. So I'm super excited to see what the team's doing, and I'm really looking forward to that launch. So if anybody wants to join, go ahead and join. The links in the video description. So for now, I'm just going to get to the chat here. I don't really have a plan. I just wanted to share this, talk about the experience, and maybe go into an open Q&A. So let's just go ahead and give me a minute to review this. So for now, actually, I want to pull up some of the key developers while I'm going through the comments here. Let me just open this up. So most of the developers here, I think India kind of outdoes as far as the countries go and who's contributing. I think most of the developers are from India, at least 60%. So you guys are absolutely awesome. So cool to see that. I know there's different regions and so on, but we have Mr. Shuvo here. So this is Sharir Shuvo, I believe. This is my lead developer here. He is actually the first paid contributor. So Sharir and Praveen, which you guys may have just seen in the comment section, are actually two of my first paid contributors. And basically their job is to make sure that the project is fully functioning. And just to talk about that, as far as the paid opportunities here, it's not much at this point, but basically what I did is I reached out to a couple of sponsors. So I always have sponsors reaching out to my channel, and I normally don't want to take on sponsors, just not something that I'm really into as far as promoting other content here. But I did have Linode, so this might be a little bit premature, but Linode, if anybody knows that company, they're kind of like DigitalOcean, AWS. They reached out, and I basically told them, hey, I'm working on this project. We have a bunch of students all over the world, and if you really want to sponsor me, try sponsoring my students here. So what we're going to do is actually get any sponsorship money. So any money that I get from sponsors, whether that's Linode, I have a few other companies that I'm working out deals with. They're going to pay me a little bit per update video. So video like this, maybe not a live stream, but something that's going to be just in a video on my channel. And I'm taking 100% of those funds and I'm putting those to paying out the contributors. So right now there's two. I will be adding more. So that was kind of the idea, was to try to get some funding for that. So we are in the early stages. Now, we'll just go through the contributors. We have Mehdi here. Mehdi is the lead in my Discord server. He's absolutely a champ here. This is what I've noticed, is people absolutely step up and they just take this project away. And it's the coolest thing in the world, because I thought I would have to be leading this. I wasn't sure how much time I really would have to actually run this. And they've just made this seamless. We have Cody, which on YouTube, he is actually web dev junkie. Also the lead in the front end, has been making contributions, has been making the pull request and merging those. And I wish you guys used your real names, by the way. So I'm trying to remember who this was. And that's something that I would recommend, is in a Discord server or even on GitHub. Try using your real name here. We have Manny. I think this was Peng was the name here. Oh, it was Afzal. Okay, Afzal Saeed. So also contributing a lot, we have Mohammed, and this is right here, Peng Boris, and I can't really pronounce the last name. So just awesome contributors. We can see the team. We have Abi here, Jules, just a bunch of amazing people building out this project. So yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to give those thanks. And then we also have the backend developers. Here is where we see Praveen. Mehdi is also contributing in the backend. Cody actually just learned Django to contribute to this project. So quite impressive. Awesome to see that. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, we'll just we'll stop at that point. So let's go into those questions then. So let me just switch this mic or this camera. Okay, so the website is, yeah, somebody's saying the website is responsive. It fully is mobile responsive. There's still things that we're going to do with it. We are looking to create at some point probably React Native or Flutter. So we'll see what works best if it works. So that's kind of the business plan here, was to launch an MVP, get something going, and then if it continues, then we can continue on with the project and actually develop it, because I don't want to over engineer it and then have it go nowhere. So somebody actually asked me how this varies from Twitter. So honestly, it doesn't change that much. So let me just make a post here. Let me just jump back in here, and I'm just going to say hello right here, and then we'll just mumble that. So we made a post, and it doesn't really vary from Twitter too much. I mean, what it really is more of like a Twitter, Stack Overflow, and maybe like a Dev 2.0, where some of you guys may be more familiar with Medium. So it's just a platform to interact with each other. Now, the only real difference here is, I guess, from Medium, because that's really the key aspect, is writing these articles. My goal is to get developers to actually write some articles. The only difference is that it's made by the community, and the idea is to promote, I guess, more engaging discussions and interactive content rather than just posts. Like, this should not be the main feature. At some point, I see some of you guys are logging on and making posts. So yeah, the main idea is not necessarily to have another platform where we just share posts, but to promote good content. So if you're a user right here, let's say Praveen, let's say he starts entering some of these discussions, right? If I go to Praveen's account right now, his vote ratio is at 0. So we haven't fully integrated that. But as Praveen engages in conversations, the more upvotes he gets on his comments or any discussions, Praveen will start having a higher vote ratio. So the idea is to reward people that have, I guess, not just engaging content, because that's kind of what Twitter already does, but people that specifically engage in discussions. And I will obviously write the algorithm to prioritize comments on discussions higher than just regular posts. But basically, if you have a good vote ratio, you will start getting recommended. Any article you write, these articles or discussions will automatically take priority in the algorithm. And that's how they're going to get, I guess, pushed forward. So that's, I guess, really the only difference outside of Twitter is you can write articles, and we do up and down votes instead of just likes and basic reactions. So thank you. The design was actually made by Sharir Shuvo, most of it at least. He has absolutely taken the lead on styling this thing. So we actually have light and dark mode, so I can enable light and dark mode. Let me log out here. We can do that directly from here. And at some point, we will have a login with Google. But for now, or login with Google and GitHub, maybe even Twitter. But for now, we're just going to leave it like this. So yeah, I love the dark mode. I mean, our dark mode is purple mode, but I think it looks cool. If we want to change that up, maybe we can add a few more settings here. So this is where a user can edit their information. We actually have the ability to crop our images. So we just built this in. I can set up a new image. Right now, the endpoint isn't working. So if I refresh this, it's going to go ahead and set that back. So let me post this link inside of the description. So mumble.dev. I wasn't planning to really have people engage with this and actually start using it, but I figured, hey, if we're on the stream, let's go ahead and actually link it up, because you're going to find it anyways in the Discord server. So give me 1 second here. Okay, I got to find this live stream. You know what? I'll actually just pin it in the comment section. I just posted it, and let me pin that. Oh, I guess I can't pin it. So anybody that sees it in the chat, go ahead and open that up. So that's the link right there. Okay, so master of Django. Yeah, I try to create a community around it, but I definitely don't think I'm the master. There are so many people way better than me. So I just try to do my best, but thank you for that. I definitely appreciate that. Let me do something like this. There we go. Okay, if you guys want to keep seeing the website, let me know. I can just take this off. I can put my face on here, but let's go through more comments here. So let's see. Sorry, guys. I guess I'll start with the more recent ones. Okay, so I guess, yeah, we can go into some Q&As like this. I'll try to keep it around the project, but that's fine. I don't know if programming is for me. What should I do? I was also like this. I was somewhat techie growing up, but that was in a whole different aspect. And if you are still trying to get into it and you're not sure, I say give it a shot. Even if you absolutely hate it in the early steps, I think you won't really know if something's for you until you can actually get good at it. For example, if you start coding and even if you love it, if you struggle within the first, let's say, month and you're really having a hard time, it can absolutely be for you. You may not know it because you're still in those early steps that take you, an hour just to write a simple little application, or, maybe one page of code. You really don't get to experience the good of it until you actually stick with it. So I would say stick with it. If you actually get it, decent at it, you can actually code up something, but you still hate it, then maybe it's not for you. But if you stick through it, then you'll at least know, because I was one of those people that for sure said it wasn't for me. So yeah. Somebody said, great to see you showing trust in Django. Yeah, I am. I try to be non-biased with languages. A lot of people are asking why I'm not using Node or anything else here. For me, Django is like the first go-to. If Django works, and I'm using Django just because I love it. I don't think it's going to be the best for everything, but there's so many big companies that use it. Instagram, Dropbox, Pinterest, all these big organizations use it. It makes for building out APIs really easy, specifically with the Django REST framework. So I see no reason why I should step away from it. So if something can't be done in Django, then I'll move to like Node.js. Specifically right now, we're working on the instant messaging feature. So we are gonna, I guess we have notifications, but not instant messaging yet. So when we add that, I'll see if I can maybe switch that to Node.js or something like that, maybe to make those WebSockets. But yeah, Django works. So let's see. So Tommy, you're asking how you can contribute. The links are in the video description. Go ahead and open those up. We have the link to the backend. So at one point, when I do make the official update video, I want to merge the repositories. Right now we have a front end and back end. The back end is hosted on Heroku. The front end is just Versal. So they're completely two separate things, and we just have them interact with the API. But if you want, go to the description. We have the backend code and the front end code. Just see where you can contribute. And if you actually want to make a contribution, what I would do is go to GitHub here and open up an issue. So let's say you want to add in the instant messaging feature. So we'll go to Mumble here. Let's say we want to build this into the backend, and we want to build in like the notification model. Go ahead and go to issues right here. See if anybody has already opened that issue. This is how we know who's working on what. So this way we're not having conflict. So if somebody's already working on it, that way two people don't work on the same issue. So you can just go ahead and raise a new issue. Once you log in, go ahead and say something like, I want to add in instant messaging. Is anybody working on this? One of the Mumble maintainers or myself will respond to you and give you a heads up or a thumbs up and say, yes, go ahead and do it, or no, don't do it. And we can go from there. So that's how you contribute, raise an issue, see an issue here. You can always just click on one of these right here. So let's say you want to do this, right? Somebody says fix CSS and the BEM method. We have an issue, and it looks like somebody already accepted this issue, but nobody has been assigned. So that's how we're doing it. We're just going to GitHub, and this is where we interact and decide what gets done. So somebody said, why Django over Node.js? Just because I like Django. That's really it. I think it can be done in both. I don't really see any limitations, but I'm sure Node.js would do just fine. Okay, so I guess it's just a thanks. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, the outreach. Really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. It's a little bit humbling to see that kind of support. It's amazing what's happened here with the channel. Okay, let's see. Do you think about some cloud-related projects too? I'm not sure what you mean by that exactly. If you can maybe specify that. Django with jQuery Ajax is enough. Yeah, I guess if you don't need React in theory. React makes things way easier, but I guess if that's your style of developing, I think it could work. So notifications, we'll get to that soon. So right now we have the notifications added, but it's not instant. So like if somebody likes a post right now, if you can see the most recent Mumble here, right now I actually have to refresh it, so we don't have WebSockets. I will need to make a tutorial on notifications. We're still working on that. That's funny. Somebody just commented, I suck at code here. So the notifications will appear. Once it will be live, but yeah, I do need to make a tutorial on that, because basically we make a notification model, And then we have a sender and receiver, like in this case, a Mumble. So it needs to know what type of notification is it. So in this case, it's a Mumble mentioning Praveen was created. So it says what it was, who created it, and who was the receiver to that. So yeah, that's kind of like the design of the notification model. We have senders, receivers, and then like a message that is created. But we will be putting something like that together soon. Okay, so let's see. So why let's see, I'll just read the comment here. So, hey, why the ID field in the models uses UUID instead of regular ones. So the reason why we're using a UUID, and I keep forgetting what that actually means, but basically you don't want to use the integer system. So right now by default, Django uses the integer system, which means that we're just starting at 1, and then we just increment that number every single time a new instance of a model is created. Now, the issue with this is that it's not really secure just to have a number. That's a very weak ID, and there could be security flaws in that. And at the same time, if you ever try to migrate a database, for example, I worked at this company and we had to take old databases and migrate them with new databases all the time. And basically, the IDs would start conflicting. So if we had an ID, let's say we had 2 databases, at some point there's going to be IDs that start at 1 in both databases. So if you're merging those, let's say we have users, right? We have a user with the ID of 1 from one database and a user with the ID of 1 in another database. If we try to merge that, that's going to be a conflict immediately. A UUID gives you, I believe, 16 characters and is basically going to ensure that there is no other ID with that same exact value. So it just makes it a longer ID, less likely to have a conflict like that, and makes it very unique to where we won't run into issues like that. So I'm sure there's more reasons to it, but yeah, that's kind of my main reason. So somebody's asking if they can join the Discord server. It should be there. If that link is live, let me know. It should be live. I just created a new invite. Okay, how to... Yeah, so right now Praveen is actually building out a Vue version. Somebody's asking if we're going to use or React over Vue. I know a lot of people like Vue. React definitely has more popularity, but I kind of root, I guess, for the little guy here. I'm kind of rooting for Vue, but it still doesn't have the user base that React has. I mean, it's huge, but Praveen is actually making a Vue version of the front end, and I'm not sure if we'll use it exactly, but we'll see where we go from there. If we have enough users needing that, we'll do that. But I basically wanted something to where most of the developers and contributors can join. If I start using Vue, I feel like I'm going to alienate a big portion of the audience. So let's see, for notifications, can we use Django channels? That is what we are going to be using, I believe. We were talking about Django channels. Right now, we just have the model created, but to make that instant to where if somebody likes or upvotes my post here, so we can see that right away, we will use Django channels, but that's where I consider Node.js because I know there's more libraries with Node, so we can make the notifications maybe as a microservice and even messaging. So let's see. Okay, how do we do streaming with Django? I think you're talking about live, like a voice chat. Are you referring to like a Clubhouse or Doge House? Maybe Twitter Spaces. I'm not sure. I haven't went that direction. That's something that I am actually unfamiliar with. I wouldn't be able to answer that. So I think that that's what you're referring to, though. So in the front end, this is React. So that's what we're using. I already mentioned there's a version that is Vue. So we are using that, but right now the active version is React. Django and Python is enough to get a job. It depends. I mean, I did, but that's going to completely depend on your situation and what you're trying to do. If you're freelancing, you're probably you have the freedom to really, I guess, choose your own stack, but for a job, that's going to completely change depending on where you're at. But yes, I would say in short, it is, but it's also going to depend a lot. It's not like once you just do these two, you're going to get a stamp of approval. You know, it's not that simple, but. So I'm just trying to continue to stick to the comment section here. If you guys have, I mean, I guess, yeah, you are asking questions, but you can go specific to the project too, and so on. We'll just kind of go open. I didn't really have a plan for this stream, so we'll just see where we go. So why not change to Next.js or Gatsby? SEO is important for your website. Yes, it is. React actually can do that too. There's something that we use called React Helmet for that. helps you optimize that. I mean, doing SEO with Django is pretty easy as far as how you build in the model. If you're trying to add in meta tags, descriptions, and so on, that's easy to do, but React Helmet makes it pretty easy to add in those tags anyways. So I haven't seen any issues or any reason to why React couldn't do that. Okay, let's see. So I keep getting questions about channels. Yeah, that's the direction we're going to go. So the idea of this, by the way, I kind of mentioned my reason in doing this in the first place, and that was to give people an actual application to work on, because I know some people can learn, Django, React, whatever you're learning, and then you have really nothing to apply it to. So that was the idea, was to connect different developers. I mean, I can't, there's so many developers that I'm already forgetting, and how many there are in the group that are actually connecting with each other. And it's so cool seeing everybody interact with everybody. So just seeing that, and that was kind of like the main purpose, is doing that. But wow, I kind of completely lost my train of thought here. I guess that's why it sucks to stream on your own sometimes. Yes, we are using AWS S3 buckets to host. That's the direction we're going to go. Let me just go to the beginning here. Oh, I see Cody somewhere in the chat. I just missed your message. I tried to get Cody here, but he couldn't do that during work. Oh, you have your meeting right now, so I guess you're probably out by now. Oh, actually, that was 3 minutes ago. So let's see, microservices in Django. I mean, I can't really go too far into that topic. Creating a microservice is a whole different subject, but it's its own application. I'm sure there's plenty of them you can create. Like our feed could be a microservice. The notification model could be its own microservice too. So that can go down a real rabbit hole. Okay, so please explain briefly about this project, DRF, and the React project. So basically how the structure looks right now is we have the backend set up in Django. So we built out the database. We have basically, we're modeling all the data, and we're using the Django REST framework to build out our API. So we're using DRF to serialize all the data. We created all the endpoints, and now we have an interactive API. So we have routes to make posts, to view a post, to view a profile, update a profile, and so on. So the backend was all in Django, and also using DRF to create the API. And then the front end is in React. And all we're doing is building out our templates. It's a single page application, and we are making calls to that API. Now, in order to make calls to the API, because we are using completely different servers for this, we had to set up our CORS configuration, which is cross-site origin scripting. And I'm not sure exactly what the acronyms are for, but basically we need to allow our front end to interact with the back end. So we had to set it up, allow the URL, and then the requests are going back and forth. So if I click on a path here, we are calling the API. If we're making a post or put request and get request, that's how it's interacting with each other. So I'm assuming you're referring to the stream. Let's see if anyone else is joining, because I know we probably have a user signing up here, or user signing up for the application. Let me just go to that one more time. It looks like our search is actually broken. Praveen, we'll have to look into that. I think Cody was working on the front end search. Let's see. Yeah, so it looks like we're having people sign up. At this point, oh wow, quite a bit of users. At this point, there is no way to edit the profile picture, so everyone's seen that profile picture, the default one. But what I'm going to do is follow everybody. So if you're registered, check your account, refresh it, and you should have a notification that Dennis followed you. So I'm just going to follow everyone, and I want to see if everyone's receiving that. So if you received a notification and you have an account, let me know. This might take a second here. And I guess I could zoom out here, go to 100%. Oh, wow. That's quite a bit of users, actually. Okay, so maybe not everybody can get a notification. This might take a second here. Let me just get this done. All right, there we go. So if you got a notification, let me know. Give me a thumbs up. See who got that. Okay, let me switch the screen. So what I'm going to do actually is I actually have Praveen here in the chat. He joined the chat here, so I'll bring him up. And it's Mumble's first stress test. Yes. We'll see how our server handles it. So I'm going to bring up Praveen. If you are ready, Praveen, let me know. give me a thumbs up, or I guess message me in Discord. And I wanted to, I guess, have an open chat because Praveen has been leading the back end here. So I guess when he's ready, it looks like he actually jumped out. So let me know, Praveen, and I'll add you. Okay, so I'll just go back to the questions here. Can you share the URL? So the URL is in the YouTube description. Okay, so if you go to the video description, it should be somewhere here. Oh, I guess I haven't added that. So just go to mumble.dev. I already shared it in the chat here. I'll throw that in one more time. Mumble.dev. We're probably going to end up breaking this thing at some point. So let's see. Okay, let me do my best to get to this. Dennis followed me. Yeah, so you got the notification. Awesome. Sweet. You saw the notification. Cool. Let's see. Why did the programmer quit his job? Because he didn't get a raise. Let's see. Can we use Django and Node in one project? Yes. If you build something as a microservice, you absolutely can. A lot of people struggle with that, but they're overthinking about how it actually works. It's not like you're cross, referencing languages here. You're just building out a different part of the service here, and you're connecting it. So, for example, if we have our chat right here, so let's go into the chat or into the notifications model. So right here, if I click on notifications, we're going to see all these notifications, right? So all you would have to do is, if you wanted to use Node.js for this, is you would have a different endpoint. So for example, right now our endpoint starts with, I believe, Mumble API.herokuapp.com. So Heroku. Okay, so that's our API. So if you wanted to create the notification, okay, it looks like that was a different one. Anyways, we have a different URL for it, but if you wanted to create the notifications in its own service and use that with Node, all you would have to do is just create a different endpoint for that and then allow post, put request, or whatever you wanted to that. So it's really easy to do that, actually. I probably should put out an example for this. And Praveen, I can see you in the chat here. Can you give me a thumbs up if you're ready to go? I can add you to the stream. Here, I'll just add you and we'll see if you're ready. Okay, sounds like your mic is on.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. So Praveen is our first paid maintainer, I guess. That's the way to put it. So Linode is the reason why Praveen is able to earn from this. We are still working out that sponsorship. So thank you, Linode, for that. But yeah, Praveen, welcome. Yeah, I know you stream a little bit on your channel. I know you do some gaming and so on, but did you have anything you wanted to contribute? Did you want to go through some of these questions with me? It'd be kind of cool just to go back and forth since I'm without a plan here.
Yeah, I saw your community post in which you were asking about what should we use for front end, and you discussed about vanilla JavaScript and Vue and React. A lot of people were commenting about the Vue, and the voting was most for the React, and the comments was for the Vue version. And so I created the Vue version, as you know, and a lot of people don't know about that. So we can give them the direction where the repository is and how the repository is built, how the project is set up, and they can contribute on that.
So let me do this, Praveen. Let me find the Vue version, and I'm actually going to link up the URL to Mumble. I just need to edit I'm just afraid to edit the stream, I guess, while we're live. It might close something out. So I guess after this video, I will link up that Vue version, or if you can, go ahead and send it to me. I'll add it in the chat here. But yeah, so for people wanting to do that, Praveen is leading that. So yeah, just check it out. Did you decide on using, were you using Tailwind, or did you decide to use the Mumble UI?
For current one, I just put the UI kit in the static media, and
I see.
Currently we are going with this, and
so I don't know UI.
much about React. Sorry, I don't know much about the CSS and HTML stuff, so I am stuck with that, and I have raised some issue, and people can work on that.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So just to catch everyone up, Sharir Shuvo, again, just an amazing CSS developer. He's still in school, I think, or he just graduated. So his talent is insane, and he actually created Mumble UI, which isn't really an official thing here, but basically everything you're seeing in this project here, this UI kit, all the buttons, Sharir made that. he had, we had other people contribute to this, but he basically made a UI kit. So we're not having to use Bootstrap. We're not having to use Tailwind or anything like that. Yeah. And it's been amazing. So that's what we're probably going to be using for the Vue version. And I see Joe, coding phase. I see you're in here. So good to chat. If you want in, let me know. I will add you to the project. We are now 50 minutes away from each other as far as our location. So we're going to be streaming together. Thanks for joining. And Joe is also working on an open source project. We've been talking about Mumble. Here, let me just switch this. We've been talking about Mumble. So yeah, we'll probably do something together, and he's going to do a video on it at some point. Cody, you're saying Mumble crashed. Did we just... I guess we successfully did it. Mumble is not working. Let's see. That's a good thing, guys. Oh, no, it's working. It's just slow. So, Cody, I think that's because of our database right now. So I am on a paid dyno. I'm only paying $7 a month with Heroku. So the dyno is pretty slow, and I'm also using the free version of Postgres. So it's going to be slow until we speed that up. And once we get that MVP, the minimal viable product up, that is when it should be a lot faster. So let me copy this link. I'm going to see if Joe wants to join really quick. I just want to give him a chance. Praveen, let me know if you want to, if you can go through the comment section and address some of those.
Oh yeah, just let me open the...
I'm trying to keep up and they go so fast I can't, really tell what I'm doing. So Joe, you're going to receive an invite in a second. If you want to join, just go ahead and jump in here. Forgot what your Discord name was.
Coding phase asking what's in the front end. So now we are having React, and we can also we do also have Vue. So if you want to go with that, we will provide a link in the Discord server, and you can follow from there.
So yeah, it's a React in the front end with the review.
I can contribute to Pranav. You will find the Vue Mumble repo link and in the Discord server, and you can join the Discord server, which will be, I think, in the description, and you can follow from there. And I have raised some issues, and you can work on that. So if you will visit mumble-view.herokuapp.com, you will see the Vue version of that, which is not currently added to the backend. This is
did you add that into the chat, Praveen?
Yeah, let me just add
the Mumble repo. Joe, I just sent you the link through Twitter, so I couldn't find you on Discord for some reason.
I have added the live website link, not repo.
I wish we can go into I wish we can do polls mid chat here, because I was surprised in the number of people that weren't sure how to contribute to a GitHub repo. And I did one with I did a video with Eddie Jowd, who basically is the open source master here. He knows quite a bit about it, does a lot of work, runs his own group. But yeah, I think that's such an important part as a developer. So from like my experience, when I started working, I think a lot of people do kind of already know my story at this point, so I don't want to go into it. But basically, learned Python, Django, and then just started. I remember I made my first hires for the project. So I had to hire somebody, I think like 9 months into the project, just because it started scaling. We really started growing there, and I got a budget to hire a couple of developers. I hired somebody, and I had no idea how to work with that developer. It was so funny because I felt like such an amateur. Here I have this product, but yet I can't even make contributions. Like if I wanted to have him update something in the project, he would, he was asking me, he's like, okay, so we have a GitHub repo. Can you check out my pull request? I had no idea what a pull request was. And this was like a year into developing. So there's no shame in not understanding that. Praveen, it looks like your thing froze here. So there's no shame in not understanding that. It's just part of the process, but it's something that I guess people feel ashamed if they don't already know it at this point. But don't be afraid of that. Ask questions. And I probably should make like a full breakdown of how to make a pull request, what a pull request is, and just go through that entire process. But yeah, it's kind of funny how that is. Like people can be developing for a while, but the second you get into that team environment, it's a whole nother story. And that was like the idea of even having Mumble, out there. Like that was the point of it. And if it never goes, well, it'll just be a fun project for people to work on, because it's still a cool website. Like I already told everybody, I'll still make a tutorial on it on my channel probably. We'll see how that goes. And anybody that's completely new can build this. Let's see. mainly React. Yeah, I think you already answered that question. It's in the GitHub repo. Okay, so we can't see the whole Django code, right? Only API. Yeah, you can see all the Django code. I mean, that is the API. So if you go to the API version, that's going to show you the database, all of that. And yeah, by the way, Abi, I believe his name was. I forgot to hide the secret key. I'll just change that after the stream. He was letting me know that before we stream this, I should hide that, but it's okay. I'll take care of that. All right, let's see.
There are some question in the live chat. How can we see the whole Django code, right? Only API. So if you visit the Dennis repo profile, then you will see the repository of naming Mumble API, and you can visit that and you will see the backend code.
So somebody's asking the difference between an API and a REST API. So this is where I'm going to feel like an amateur here, but REST is more of a style in building out an API. So you're making an API RESTful. Now, if I'm completely wrong, somebody let me know. But basically, if you've ever used view sets and routers in Django, they pretty much already design your API for you to make it RESTful. So that means, like, let me think of an example. Like an endpoint, for example, could be like API, let's say the URL / Mumble, right? That can be the endpoint to create a Mumble if it's a post request. It can be the endpoint to edit a Mumble if it's a put request. So it's the same endpoint, but it takes in different kinds of requests. And Joe just joined the stream here, so I actually want to ask him this question too. I'll add him in a second. But basically, it's just a way of designing it. You're making it RESTful, so your API is very clean. It's like a uniform way of designing it. Let's see if anybody has an explanation of that. If anyone, yeah, if I need to be corrected, let me know. That's my understanding of it. So it's just an API and the style of it. So Joe, you're live. Thanks for joining.
Hey, what's good? What's good, guys? Yo, you got a cool project, bro. Like, I'm really like, yo, I'm looking at everything here. I'm like, man, this is dope, man. Yeah. And the good thing is that you got a squad. Like, that's the best thing, because sometimes you come up with ideas, and even when you try to do stuff like for open source, and sometimes the team might not work together properly, but it seems like you got a good squad, man.
Yeah, I mean, that was my biggest fear. I was like, okay, man, I can't be running my channel, doing what I'm doing, making my courses, and then running this project. And I check in, like Praveen is one of my guys here. I was out for almost a month. I'm moving around the country, and I'm checking up the Discord server. These guys have it down. I mean, I don't know if I'm just lucky or I just, what happened with these people. So got a great team. I love it. It seems like in open source, if you can create a good enough buzz around it and a good reason for it, I feel like it'll attract the right people. I think they're here for the good reason. Yeah.
Yeah, no, man, that's hot, man. I like it. I like what you guys have. It seems pretty legit. Even the UI looks pretty good. And just the fact that, everybody's is doing, what they have to do to get it done, and good communication. This is something that I was telling, like, for some of you guys that don't know, I was doing like some type of internship program with a couple of people on my channel, just to get them to work together, right? And one of the things that I told them from the beginning is like, yo, if you cannot communicate with each other and have that good communication and accountability, like, it's very hard to work in a team. Like, that's like the number one thing. If you guys could communicate with each other and let each other know, like, hey, this is what I'm going to be working on. This is what I'm good at, right? It's always good to let your team know, like, what you're good at, what you're bad at. So like that somebody else could pick up on that or even teach you. You know what I mean? So
yeah. 100%. So the tactic that I've seen, I have a brother in the military, so he's always kind of he loves that structure, right? There's a reason why it works and how they operate. And one thing that I noticed is if you can not micromanage, but assign people and give them the authority and say, okay, I'm not going to look over your shoulder. I'm not going to be trying to, correct you on every end. Just give them the full power to do it. There's been mess ups. Like, we've had issues where, like, oh crap, we didn't, communicate this. What I've noticed is if you let people just work, let them do it, they'll ask the questions that they need to. They'll have that ability to do what they need to do. And they're like managing each other. It's so cool. Like, I just assigned, I think there was like 4 people to maintain the repositories, 2 in the front end, 2 in the back end. and everyone's like reaching out to these people instead of me, so they're not bugging me while I'm doing other stuff. They're talking to each other, and they like created their own like little hierarchy, which is good for a structure like this. Like you need an organization. Otherwise, everyone's just like contributing code. There's no communication. Two people are working on the same thing. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. That's hot. When do you guys start going live? Like I just woke up right now, so I'm just
no, you stay up late, you wake up late. Like when I messaged you, I realized you probably wouldn't even be up. I think somebody's asking for your link, so I'm gonna add you to the video here, Joe. Somebody's asking for your channel. So we are looking to go live in a little bit. We actually almost crashed a server, I believe, a minute ago. So that basically we're just getting people signing up. This wasn't supposed to be that launch, but just because we have kinks to still work out. But I'm thinking maybe, Praveen, what do you think? We're at the end of the week, we're probably looking to launch?
Yeah, after a week, we are going to launch you can say an intro video to the Mumble, and
yeah, I'll put that
we'll
out.
be going through all of that.
So yeah, we have just like a couple of endpoints to figure out. Like right now, I was showing if we go through this, like just to update our profile picture, like little things like this. Like if I try to, oh shit, that server is slow. So I'm on a free dyno. That's why this is happening. I guess I can't show it. But yeah, we're just going to work those out, adjust our refresh tokens and how authentication works. And then we're going to switch that, or then we'll just launch it. But it's funny because we're launching really early. And this is something like what I wanted to show everybody. This is something that you need to do early on. A lot of people want to perfect the project. Like we don't have it perfected. We can't write articles yet. That's not done. But if I can launch it and get feedback immediately, then I know that it's worth writing the articles. But if no one even bothers to ask about like that feature in this application, then it might not be something that we should do. So I'm launching it with insecurities. Like it's really incomplete, but I'm trying to gauge how everyone's responding to it and what features they start, picking and pulling at. So it's cool to do that and then not have to, like if we wanted to perfect it, it would take us another month or two probably. But yeah, just going into it. And that's what I'm trying to teach everybody is write shitty code, just put it out, fix it later. Don't try to master it. That's kind of our point.
Yeah, no, I think that's how you should do it. A lot of people, they try to come up with this perfect code, or even I've seen people that they never release nothing because they refactor and refactor and refactor. Like every time that they learn something new, they refactor the whole application that they built. And it's like sometimes with things like this, you want to put it out to the world, right?
Yeah.
Users are gonna let you know exactly the things that you need to focus on. A lot of people will say, "Hey, man, if it's not broke, don't fix it," right? And it's kind of true in the sense of when you're building products, because it's a big difference when you're trying to create things where you're trying to impress other developers and things like that. You're like, "Oh, I want to have my code perfect, and I want to have the new version of." ES27 just came out, and now I gotta rewrite my whole application. It's like, like some guys they stop everything that they're doing. But when you're focusing on the product, you're like, I just want to see the reaction. I want to see how people enjoy this application and get feedback. Because just like you said, if let's say right now you worked on a feature and then you realize nobody was even going for that, nobody wanted that. Now by having users in there, they could give you feedback and say, hey, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if we could just go in and follow each other from this section right here instead of us having to go to the person's profile or this and that? You get what I'm saying? Like now they're giving you that feedback directly and you could actually work on something that they want.
Yeah, I can't count the number of times I've worked on a feature that I thought was just going to be amazing, and then I ship it to my customer base, and they're just like, "What the hell is this?" Like, or they don't even use it because I usually would put analytics on it. But yeah, exactly that, 100%. So I just tagged you, Praveen. I couldn't tag you with the @ symbol, so sorry about that. I wanted to put your channel on too, but Coding Phase or Joe, I just added you to that video description. Sorry about that, Praveen. Couldn't find it. Yeah, that's a big one. That was I put that out on Twitter, and obviously you get the contradictions to that, or not the contradictions, but the counter arguments. But that's like my biggest model is write code because you're always going to want to refactor it, ship it, and go move quick, adjust and adapt. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to me because people try to make the comparisons. Like I've had people ask the comparisons to Twitter and so on. I'm not trying to make another Twitter. That's not the goal. I have my own reasons for doing this, but. One thing I've noticed in products like this, and this is why you shouldn't be refactoring your code so much, is you can design the best damn product in the world. It can be the best application. I mean, the code is slick, everything is seamless, and it can never take off. A lot of people think it's truly the idea or the product that makes it big, and that's complete crap. I mean, look at MySpace and Facebook, or there's so many applications that picked up because of momentum, because of a trend, because somebody started it. And it's like, I guess the comparison I like to make is it's kind of like a nightclub or a bar. Like sometimes you don't know why it's so packed out or why there's energy, but there's something just kind of happens and it goes. It doesn't mean that it can't be strategic. Nightclubs do, pay pretty girls to come in and, show up to bring attention so they can try to maybe enforce it. That's kind of like in this case, marketing, but you really don't know where a product's going to go. So why spend all this time before you even know if it's going to take off? It's just I think it's a big waste of time. That's why I'm always ship it, and go. Yeah. I don't know if that analogy made sense, but I think you kind of get it, Joe, where sometimes it's just synergy that happens and you can't always predict it. You always get the guy telling you, I got $1 billion idea. Well, maybe it is, but in a different world,
Now, as far as the user authentication, what you guys using? You guys using like JSON Web?
Yeah, so Django has sessions, but because we're using React in the front end, we are using JSON Web Tokens. We actually just have a long-lasting token at this point, though. It doesn't refresh. I think we're building that in. Praveen, I'm not sure if we finished that yet. We have the endpoint for it, but yeah, we're going to be using the JSON Web Tokens, and then every 5 minutes, I think we send a refresh token, or we update it using the refresh token. Yeah. Okay. You go into the application?
Backend is ready, and backend is ready, and the front end needs to process that refresh token and retrieve that back.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's right. The endpoint was done. So, Joe, if you ever need a designer, man, this guy, so Sharir Shuvo, somebody was asking who designed that front end. This guy built out designed the front end, built out an entire UI kit. So right now, all the buttons you see on the website, all of that, that's all a UI kit. So we just have an external UI kit. We just, use the BEM method with CSS. And Sharir, props, man. I cannot praise this guy enough. So somebody was asking about that. I wanted to show that publicly. Yeah, amazing. Let's see. So
a lot of people are asking about which UI is that. We are not using any type of UI or CSS framework. So it is basically built by our man Shuvo, which is a genius in that project. I think, as Dennis is telling that.
We'll have to call it Shuvo UI.
Shuvo UI.
Okay, let's see. So
I think my voice is lagging.
Oh yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I can still hear you. Your camera freezes up every once in a while. Okay, let's see. Best progress, perfections come with time. Avoid making. Yep.
My cellular got COVID.
So this is an interesting one, Joe. What would you say at this point? So somebody comes into the project, and I know that documentation would fix this, but how do you come in and understand a large code base? Because what I've noticed happen was in the beginning, right? We start off the project, there's a few endpoints, we have a couple of templates, and that's it. But once we start creating all these components, we started breaking things down. I can never say the word compartmentalize. I can't say. Yeah. Once we start breaking it down into sections, it starts getting confusing. People don't know what to work on. They don't know where to find all the imports, right? If we have the way we're breaking things up, it gets hard to understand. Do you have a tactic? Have you worked with teams where you've had to do that? Is there documentation for that you write? Because we're still in that early phase.
So usually you will have if it's a really big company, you will have a documentation that people have wrote before explaining how to get into a project. They have onboarding documentation, meaning everything from you start from how to set up your environment, right? From there, going into the code base, talking about how the application actually structured. So what I usually like to do is once I have my development environment working and I have the application working, let's say if I was going to work on this project, I will go in, set everything up, right? Set up the Python API, set up the front end, right? Once all of that is running and I can see, okay, the website's working and I could register myself, it's connected to a database, then I'm good to go, right? So then from there, what I will go in is I would choose a page and then from there start working myself down. Let's say the profile page, for example, right? I will look at the profile page and then I will go in from that page and look at all of the components or whatever it is that is importing. going one by one and just to see how everything is working. How is it that they're bringing in the data? How is it that they have everything structured, or they're doing it through like async functions, etc. So I just try to go in from top to bottom and always do that. Start from like the header. Sometimes the headers might have like different logic, that
different imports, probably
different endpoints. So I start on the simple things, and then from there, just once you decide, hey, if I'm gonna work on this project like open source, I will go in and look through the website and say, hey, what can I improve out of this thing, right? And then focus on that area alone. Right. Once you understand like the basics of like, okay, cool, this is how they're able to save data. This is where they do their post requests, their get requests, etc. Right. So once you understand those parts, then from there, just choose an area that you feel comfortable. Don't go in and try to say, well, I don't know Python. Let me go and try to tackle the Python side and create an endpoint. It's like, take it easy. If all you know is CSS, how can you fix, an area where maybe the font could be a little bit bigger or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like start small.
Yeah, 100%. So you don't want to jump into it. Like we can write documentation for it, like you said, the setup and all that, and maybe documentation on certain points. But there was a part where I built out like the Redux store, and then Cody, which is Web Dev Junkie, rewrote that entire store, and I had to do exactly that. I had to go page by page and figure out how are these endpoints or the imports connected, where are they coming from? Because he would have like one import that imported from like 3 different files. So I had to like reverse engineer that and go backwards. But as far as like documentation, it would be too much to write documentation for every single little part. Maybe if it's like a big part of the application, then we can say, yes, this is how we handle this section. But yeah, I think it's kind of on the coder after an onboarding process to go and do that. That's interesting. I'm always looking for different takes. And this is the cool thing about open source is, I've been working as a developer now. I think it's been about 3 years. Yeah, about 3 years. And the best time for me to learn, or the time when I learned the most, is when I talk to people like you. When I talk to people like Praveen. Like Praveen's writing tests in a way that I've never seen in this application. I've never seen it that way yet. I feel like I've had lots of experiences. Seeing how other people do things is the coolest thing.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say something that. For as far as like the documentation, you guys the simplest thing that you guys could do is like have like an onboarding page, right? I forgot there's a library. Yeah, like a README, of course, having to show people how to get started, right? And basically install both things and to run it. Also, too, you could use a storybook.js for your
storybook. Yeah, that was one.
Yeah, so you could use Storybook for your components, and then even like right now, or for the guy who has created a UI for you guys, like if all of those things are different components and different things that you could use, just use Storybook and it will generate a documentation for you. And I'm pretty sure that's something that people could go in and jump into and basically contribute. Like people could go in and create components out of each one and show the different use cases of it. So that's something that anybody here can do. Like if you're like a beginner in JavaScript, like you could go in and do that and contribute with that. I'm pretty sure the guys is gonna be glad that you helped out in that part.
Yeah, so that was one of my guys, Mehdi. I think that's what he was using with Storybook, but he was basically starting that. And I told him that's the cool thing about open source. It's like you just start something. I told him get it set up, make it public, and people will come and contribute to that. So anytime like I make a post, like sometimes I write crappy code just because I know everyone's going to fix it for me. I love it. Like, so if I get it started, they'll come in and rewrite it 10 different ways.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
Let's see.
So let me ask you this: Why didn't you guys go with Next.js, or did you guys go with Next.js? I'm looking at the open source GitHub right now.
No, we're just it's Django and React, and we're hosting on Heroku, and we're using Vercel. So the reason for that is just because of I guess the quantity in developers. When it comes to Django, a lot of Django developers are even scared to even get into React. Like it's like, oh shit, I just learned Python, or I come from a Python background. I have to learn Django. Now I have to learn React. It's like this big step. So Python developers, when it comes to learning JavaScript, are just not big fans of it. So I'm just trying to keep it simple. React is the one that's a little bit more popular. We mentioned at one point that we have a Vue version of it that's not live, but it is available.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody's asking, how can I make this website load faster? So right now we are on a free dyno, or we're on a paid dyno. It's a cheap one. So I just need to speed that up. And we're using a free Postgres database. So if you're seeing it lagging, it's probably going to lag like crazy now because we have, I guess I don't have a user count right now, but we had a bunch of people sign up. So it's slow because of that. So sorry about that. I wasn't planning to launch today. Yeah, there's like, I think we've had over 50 something new users just added. Yeah.
No, but this is good. This is what you want. You know, you want to have the website go slow. You want to see the things that you could improve, and also too at the same time is like, you know, now you're gonna get that feedback. Like that's what I'm dying right now to get my own application. I got this new application that I'm working on called devlevel.io too myself, and like I'm starving to just release it. And next week we're gonna release the first feature in the first website landing page and everything, but I can't wait. I'm excited for you guys right now.
Yeah, I actually tried to look up that link yesterday. For some reason, it was down. I don't know if the site was down or if you haven't connected it.
I haven't put it up yet. Just because I'm still trying to fix a couple of things on the homepage, and then making sure that we have the first MVP, right? Just down pack. I don't want nobody to go in and register and then they'd be like, oh, this didn't work, and then they never come back to it. So I'd rather go in and have everything. You know what I'm saying? I want to have just like one feature to be just pretty good where everything is smooth, and then from there, I have a whole bunch of other extra features that I want to do, but I just want to focus on that one thing that we want to do and make sure that everything works. So like that, people don't be like, oh, I came in, last year to this application and this thing, I had a bug here or whatever, right? Yeah, so I wanted to just make sure, give it some more time.
Yeah, I'm kind of dealing with that too, because at this point, like everybody's signing up. I'm not sure if I'll transfer this data. I'll see if I get enough users, maybe I will. But the database right now is a free one, and sometimes it takes more work to transfer data than just to reset it. So we're actually using, like I said, like a dummy database, and we will lose, I guess, all these users. I guess it doesn't really matter if they're not active. I guess it really doesn't make a difference, right? Like, you want active users. It's not the number of users. If I have 1,000 users, but 2 people engage on it, you might as well say it's 2 users. But yeah, I get you there for sure. Yeah.
Also, too, I will say, I know you guys are using right now Heroku. Have you tried using DigitalOcean app, their platform?
Never have. I haven't done that just because I just haven't taken the time. Like I haven't really made the comparison yet. Would you say it's better? Would you say something that we should try?
Yeah, I would say you guys should definitely try DigitalOcean app. There's 2 of them. So there's render.com and there's DigitalOcean app, which could be really good for your application. Because like, let's say right now you're still, it's a new application, so you don't want to go in and spend too much money on just getting everything set up. But I think for like $5 you could get started with DigitalOcean. I think with like $8 you could get started with Render, and they're way better in as far as like prices. Because Heroku, the problem with Heroku is that once you start getting like traffic into your website and you need to start pumping up the dynos, it gets crazy expensive.
Yeah, it does.
Like I've had it before, and like just random ideas, and I'm like, yo, how am I spending $80 a month? Like this doesn't have that many people in this application, but that's my only tip that I will say. Give one of those 2 a try, just to keep the cost down until the application grows to a huge number.
Yeah. The one upside in Heroku is that it's an Amazon product, so it connects with Amazon pretty well, or AWS. So, which is a good and a bad thing. I'm not a big fan of Amazon myself, but they do have a great product.
Yeah,
it's the unfortunate part. Yeah. So somebody's asking why we're using function-based views. Just because it works. Like I don't get hung up on that. If we rewrite the code, we'll do it, but it works, and we will start making our code more efficient. Right now, we have multiple contributors. Each one specializes in their own style. Some people know function-based views. Some people prefer class-based views, but this is that part of that process of writing code, launching it early, and sometimes it's going to be not good code, Somebody says the design sucks. Well, that's a shot at Shuvo right there. It's always fun to see that. I don't know if they're messing, if they're serious. Either way, Shuvo, your design does not suck. It's actually amazing.
Yeah, no, there's people there's always guys gonna come in and be like, this sucks, this and that. It's like, yo, where's your product, my dude? Can we see something from you? You know,
as opposed to what? Let's just go over here and let's see what's bad. You know, the buttons look great. The colors. If you don't like the colors, that's a whole different thing. I can show you the other version of it.
It looks good. It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good. But I always wonder, like, when people come in and be like, yo, this is garbage, this sucks, this and that. And I always want them like, yo, but where's your shit? Where's your work at? Like, can we see that? Because everybody has an opinion, but then at the same time, it's like we never see their work.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Can you help me run a startup? Yeah. No, I can definitely. I can't really run a startup. I've done that before. I'm trying not to get back into that. I think it's kind of in my nature, I guess. That's kind of the funny thing, Joe. Like, I had my own web development company, and I ended up I always thought I wanted to do stuff like that. It's like the sexy idea, be a startup guy. Like the way that you see it on TV and YouTube. And I realized I hated it. Like, I hated being a leader in teams, but yeah, I still think I default into it. And I don't know why. This is unfortunately kind of turning into a startup, but the beauty of it is that I'm just letting other people take it over. Like, it's not my product. It's people are giving me credit for it. I'm about 30% to do with it. Everything else is other people. Like, I don't feel like I'm running anything, but I'm definitely trying to stay away from that. What I am trying to do though is create jobs and opportunities. Joe, I don't remember or I don't know what time you joined or if you heard, but Linode actually reached out to me. And basically, that's right. We did talk about this. Yeah.
You let me know about that.
Yeah. So Praveen here is one of the first paid maintainers. So Linode right now, I think, threw me an offer. They might be raising it a little bit, I think, based on how things go. But they're starting off on a small amount. It's going to be a couple hundred per video, about 400 to 500, I believe, at this point. And I'll just do probably a video update a week, get the guys, an extra $2,000 to split amongst themselves. So I'm excited for that. Like, that to me is big, because you always talk about this. You talk about not making code your religion. You talk about making it something that it's just, it is a job. You can enjoy it. That's amazing stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm not teaching you to code because it's something sexy. I want to teach you to code and then show you how to apply it. I'm trying to teach you to fish. Hey, this is a great thing, but learn how to make some money with it. Get your experience here. Start your own thing. Become a part of a team. Get some seed capital, even if it's very little, and do something with it. The idea here is to solve problems and to build things, not just to be obsessed with code. We can write pretty code all day and think we're changing the world, but we're not.
Yeah, no. I think what you're doing is great. That's why it gravitated me to your channel, because I even, like, from the first few videos that I've seen from you, I'm like, yo, I like this guy, but I'm like, the reason why I like him so much is because he thinks like me, right? So for those of you guys that don't know, in my channel, that's what I basically preach to people. It's like, yo, you got to come into this industry, right? Yes, we love it, but you have to look at it as, hey, I could get paid from this, and I could easily either get a job, work for somebody, but at the same time, if I'm able to get a job, that means I could do those things for myself. So I could build my own applications, build my own startups, build microservices, software as a service, like, etc. Like, there's so many different avenues, digital products, there's freelancing, there's so many different ways that you can make an income, and a very good income. Like, I'm Dominican, so I was born in Dominican Republic, so I know how it is, living in another country other than the United States. And I know what you could, how you could live in other countries with a certain amount of money. Like, I always see people that come in and tell you, hey man, you got to earn $100,000. And it's like, bro, if I lived in Dominican Republic and I made $50,000, I'm basically rich in Dominican Republic. Like, I'm good. And so at the end of the day, it's like, you got to find your way, no matter where you at. And you could be successful by using the skills that you already have. It's like, put that shit to work for yourself. Yeah. Like, it doesn't cost you anything. All it costs you is your time, but then it pays off in the long term. So, what Dennis always talks about in here and shows you guys in the world of Python is like, it's like basically it's like a skill. It's like being a construction worker. Like you could work for a company and set up tiles, set up the bars, set up the windows, right? But then you realize you're like, oh shoot, I could do this for myself. Now you go and buy yourself a little van. Now you go in. Now you got your own guys that's working for you, and then now you have your own company. That's the beauty about development. It's like this is a skill, just like riding a bike. It's like once you get it, that's it. You got it. Nobody could take this away from you.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely. I love the idea of building up confidence too. It's crazy how many good developers are out there that will ask me for advice. Like some of the people in this group are, I mean, I don't know if they're better developers than me because everyone specializes in their own area, but they can run circles around me in specific parts, and then they're asking me for career advice or different things. I'm like, you have the skills, you're there, So just kind of like you're walking people, I guess dipping their foot into the water, like give them the feel of what's actually possible, because that's just maybe something that they haven't built up. But yeah, once you experience that once, like for me, I remember being so insecure, and then I developed my first product and I felt like I was flying. I was just like, okay, I can do this. Like I've done it before. It's not that hard. It's not as scary as I always thought. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Let's see. So like I have a couple people saying thank you here. Rooney, thank you so much. Appreciate this. True facts, Joe. I'm sure this is when you were speaking. This is another one of our contributors, Ujwal. Good developer here. Cool. Well, yeah, I wanted to spend some time. Like I just I woke up this morning and I just set up my internet yesterday. I'm like, man, I got my new office. I want to just do something and stream. So I started up solo, and Praveen here decided to join me. I messaged him, said, hey, do you want to join if you have a video? Let's do this. And thank you for jumping on quick. Want to answer some questions. I'm going to make an official update video, and that's probably going to be once the MVP is launched. Like once we actually get that running, we'll get that set up and we'll go. So yeah, I'm just kind of watching the comment section here. See Astra here. Thanks for joining. I don't know machine learning well enough to teach it. Maybe I can get my guy. What's his gosh, I forgot. It was the guy on Twitter, the 16-year-old kid. What's his name? Dang, I completely forgot. I just did a Twitter Spaces with him.
Oh, I think Patram or some Patram. I know who you're talking about though.
Yeah, but maybe I can get him on. I was actually talking to him about doing a stream. Maybe I can have him teach some. Pratham, there we go. Yeah, 16 years old. It's crazy. Dude still hasn't monetized his product either, or his service. It seems like he's just out there doing it. I mean, growing up to 70,000 followers. That's nuts.
Yeah, he's definitely building how you call this a brand for himself.
Yes.
But does he have what does he do? Because I keep seeing him on Twitter and everything, but I don't even know. Does he have a product? Does he have
No, not yet. So he I believe took one internship and he's on his second job. So I believe he's doing an internship and working a job at this point. And that's what I was talking to him about. We were on a Twitter Spaces, and then I personally messaged him. I just said, hey, how are you monetizing this? You clearly are doing it for money, right? You're looking for a job. Like if you don't want it, then cool, just do it for fun. That's that's honorable. But yeah, he hasn't done anything with it yet, but I'm sure he'll probably start going the course route or just make himself a hireable, if that's the way he wants to go.
No, that's cool.
I'm glad you like that. So Treat is a username. I did a whole Django interview thing, kind of going over that. Glad that video was helping people. Seems like a lot of people actually took to it. All right. Well, in that case, I will end it because I do want to post this after. Joe, again, thank you for jumping on. It's not like your streams. I know I turn on my YouTube channel and I just see you on there yelling at the camera.
Hey guys, listen, man, if you want to check out my channel, Coding Phase, when you guys get a chance, I pretty much do something similar to what Dennis does here. I try to do a lot of motivation, give you guys ideas on how to make income on your own. Just like Dennis, you see Dennis, he's at home, he's working from home, and living this lifestyle of hey, I'm making my own income. I pretty much do the same thing. I've been doing this for the last 4 years. Haven't worked for anybody. I just make income with the skills that I have. It's either making applications, creating courses, YouTube, the whole process. So if you are interested in that, you could come check out my channel. And me and my boy Dennis, we're like 45 minutes away. Like you're gonna see a lot of content with us. Like that's my boy. Like I love this guy. This guy's super cool, and he just gives me good energy. You know, he always gives me good energy. Every time I talk to him, we talk for like, it's gonna be like 5 minutes. I'm like, let me call Dennis for 5 minutes. Ends up being like 45 minutes. But yeah, man, it's good energy. This guy is legit. But yeah, whenever you guys have a chance, check out my channel, Coding Phase. And yeah,
linked up too. Yep. I was making a joke with my wife. I said, Joe's the type of guy that would fight one of his students in class because he gives it to you real. You get so passionate on your streams, I feel like you're gonna fight somebody.
Yeah, no, because I get passionate, but that's how it is. Some people be thinking like, oh, I'm getting mad. It's like, no, this is how I talk to my friends. Like this is my whole thing about YouTube. Like, I didn't want to be somebody fake. I just want to come here and be myself, how I am with my friends, right? So when I tell my friends, I'm like, yo, I remember when I started learning how to code, I was telling them like, yo, bro, you got to learn how to code with me. And everybody's like, oh, I don't know. That's super nerdy. I don't know if I could do it. I'm not that smart. I'm like, bro, you crazy. You got to come in and you got to come do it with me. You know what I mean? So I get so excited, but it's not really like I'm mad or anything. It's just
I love it. I love it. You get so passionate. That's anytime I have you on, I'll have you on with my speaker on and everything like that. And my wife just laughs. She's like, "Who's he yelling at now?" I love it. No, you definitely got the passion, and I understand that we were trying to tell your friends, but no one will get it.
Yeah.
So you're like, screw it. I'll just go online and talk to people I don't even know.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Praveen, I recently found the fact that you have a channel. Are you trying to do anything with that as far as like coding stuff, or are you just doing that more for a personal thing? Because I'd love to give it a shout out if you're actually trying to like, I guess do tutorials or talking videos. Here, let me just add that in the description.
I have decided to go for more coding. Yes, for tutorials and some like little talks or like sharing the progress of how to grow as a developer or lots of extra stuff.
Sweet, awesome. In that case, are you going more for like Django stuff, or you said you were doing talking stuff, right? Or are you like focusing on backend code?
Yeah, I'll be focusing on the backend stuff more, and after that, I'll be posting the stuff about like front end with Vue.js only because I don't have any idea about React.js. And
cool.
Yeah, I will also share some live videos in which I'll share the progress, like what it feels or what is the progress, how to like grow as a developer, like how you face issues and how you resolve them, and like what are the pit stop you have to face, and like when you should not give up. Exactly.
Sure. Awesome. Sounds good. I'll try to link you up after this video. Then I will have to find it because for some reason it's not tagging it. But cool. Thank you guys for joining. Joe, Praveen, thanks for coming on at such short notice. We'll see you guys later, and check out the Mumble project. Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
Take care, guys.